Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 226 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of January 24th through the 30th. My name is Tim Beeman.
And this is Street Team Steve.
And we're opening the recipe trunk. We're recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Less Desirable Studios in the Lab at Industry Hill. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and others like that, we'd appreciate a like, a follow, and a rating. It would help us tremendously. And if you're listening to us on the Triad Podcast Network, welcome and thank you. This episode, of The Man Who Ate the Town is brought to you by Mojito Latin Soul Food, your go-to Cuban and Latin-inspired restaurant. There are others popping up, but I still think that this will be your go-to. You need to go by and have what I've called my favorite sandwich in town, the Cubano. And if that's not your thing, try the ceviche or the pork belly appetizers, and try their grilled or fried chicken. Have the congri, which is yellow rice and beans with pork belly. All delicious stuff. Mojito Latin Soul Food does reservations, takeout, has a rather large outdoor patio, and it's cold outside, yes, but there are some days you can get away if it's not too breezy of sitting outside. So it's there. And if you're if you're a smoker or something like that, you have to go outside anyway. You can go out there; it's covered. And deliveries to surrounding businesses like Fiddle and Fish, Broad Branch, and Wise Man. Check them out on their Facebook page and MojitoLatinSoulFood.com. How was your holidays and all that stuff, Stephen?
Oh, that was actually really good. Minnesota was very cold.
Yeah.
Quite cold, actually. Minus 10, 11 degrees. So, yes. But it was crisp and snowy, and it was good to see the family. And, we attended a wedding, and that was really nice. Well done. I feel sorry for the party, though, because they were all taking photos outside when it was minus 8, 9 degrees. So
was it snowing?
Yes. So it was very pretty, but I felt because they weren't dressed for it. They were all in their wedding gear.
Yeah.
So, but they took breaks.
Sure, the rosy cheeks and pained looks will be showing up in their wedding picture.
Yep.
Hey, take the picture.
Quick, go, take it.
Yes,
Yep.
Yes.
But it was all well done, so.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, still, even more now, everyone's hiring, so get a job. And we know that it's not that people are not working. People are working, or people are changing careers. But somebody's got to work in these restaurants, or we're not going to have them. Case in point, until further notice, Brothers Pizza is closed. The culprit is the staffing shortage. They can't get people to work, and they can't do it themselves. Not constantly. I mean, there's burnout that happens. There's fatigue and exhaustion. So they're just going to have to wait until they can get some people in there. The question, though, is, how are they going to come there to apply if you're not open? So maybe they can come back to a truncated schedule or something like that. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of this. So if you have younger people who are just looking to get a job to pay maybe some college bills or something like that, then this is probably the way to do it, going through the restaurants and service industry.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up immediately. And, you add the basically, what they call the big people basically changing jobs and just getting out of the business. Quite honestly, you add the COVID spike that's going on. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
With Omicron. It's really rough out there.
It is.
It's really rough.
It's really bad. So hopefully the Scotto family can get themselves back up and running again soon.
Yep. One of my favorite places. I love that place.
Yeah.
Brothers Pizzeria. Yep.
Yeah. Bootleg Ramen actually posted for the first time since last July. Oddly enough, it wasn't about ramen, and it wasn't really promoting anything. It was spamming eggs. I'm not sure what Josh is doing, to tell you the truth.
I agree. I was actually befuddled when I saw that post. Like,
Yeah.
first of all, there was a post, and second of all, what's it about exactly? I don't get it, but whatever.
Yeah, it was just like, here, look what we're eating. And I'm like, are you still doing anything? I don't know.
Yep.
Josh is an odd bird. I like him, but he's an odd bird.
Yeah.
So Johnny's Farmhouse restaurant's coming to where the Cheddar's was on Haynes Mall Boulevard. Sounded to me, whenever I first heard it, like a Cracker Barrel knockoff, but it doesn't really look like they serve any breakfast or anything like that. So, not according to their menus, and they have 2 restaurant locations, and each has its own menu. But neither one of them serve breakfast. It's only looks like lunch and dinner items.
Well, that's kind of interesting and odd.
Yeah. So it's still country style food that really, if I'm looking at it and listening, reading what's on the menu, didn't look half bad. They are based, the best I can tell, in Dallas, Texas, but have only 2 locations, one in Concord and one in Mooresville. Is it odd to you that a Texas company only has 2 locations and they're both in North Carolina? I think that's odd.
If that is correct, that is very odd.
Because if you go to the Johnny's Farmhouse restaurant or whatever.com, it says locations, and that's the only 2.
But it says headquarters is Texas?
The thing at the bottom says owned by Johnny's Farmhouse, whatever, Dallas, Texas.
Well, there you go. Must be tax reasons.
Must be. Showmars is open, and I believe so far I don't think anyone's lost their minds yet. Not like when Popeye's open or even when Mr. Barbecue opened back up. But there is hype, and people are excited about Showmars. I have never had Showmars. I didn't even know what Showmars was until they announced that they were coming. And people were like, oh, yeah, it's the best thing in Charlotte, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what the hell is it? I've never heard of it. It sounds like a place that would email you about getting your award certificates framed, because that's what I get. Show Mark sends me stuff all the time whenever I win awards for stuff. Hey, we would like to frame that or put it on, a plaque or something for you. I'm like, oh, what?
And now you can get a Euro sandwich to go with it.
Yes, right. My Euro and my plaque.
Yep.
Coffee Park Airstream now has a new window after the car ran through it. That was bizarre. And then they left the car. When the car went through the window and ended up still in the parking lot, they left the car.
You don't think there might be a little drinking involved or some other thing, do you?
I think there was at least some substance involved.
There we go.
I don't know if it was liquid or chemical. It was something. But yeah, they were open the whole time. They never closed. But now they also have, including that window, they also have one of those little lending library things that pops up in the neighborhoods.
Yep.
Because Tommy Priest is very community and neighborhood minded. So they have the little lending library there at the corner of the Airstream.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
We actually have one across the street from my house. It's one of the little lending libraries.
Yeah.
So kind of
Yeah.
cool. I like that idea.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Showmars if we can for a second.
Okay.
I did peruse the menu.
Yeah.
Because everybody was talking about it. The menu actually looks pretty interesting. So I wouldn't mind, maybe you and I might need to take a little trip there and try it out ourselves.
One of our Friday excursions.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, I was thinking that too whenever I was, gathering up my notes this morning. It sounds like a good place, and someplace else that may pop up here in a minute whenever I'm talking. I don't know for sure.
okay.
Simply Sonia's. I would like to go try that out.
Okay. That's soul, quote unquote. That's Southern soul food, right?
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and that is in the Best Western Plus there on the University.
Right. That's where the other restaurant was that went out to the place, right? Providence. Providence.
No, they were at Doubletree.
Doubletree.
Yeah, they were at the Doubletree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, yeah, that's another place I'd like to try.
Okay.
Slappy's announced that they are finally moving at their location, finally getting some stuff going. So hopefully we can get our Slappies on again soon. If nothing else, so people would shut the hell up.
I'll be honest. I drive by there a lot, and I actually haven't seen much going on yet.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. It may be that somebody finally got some stuff in because, they've been hit by the supply chain stuff.
Yep.
This is not on my notes, but it just came to my head. 600 degrees. They test lit their wood-fired grill last week. And I've talked to Travis and Ryan, and they're hoping the first week or 2 weeks of February will be when they finally get rolling. They have stuff in, they have stuff ready. Let's do it, boys.
I will have to say, I am definitely looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Rhythm Lounge has announced that they are coming back. But they are saying that they are happy to announce it will not be in the Marketplace Mall. They haven't announced where the new location will be just yet. I'm glad to see that they're going to bring the lounge back, but it doesn't. When they say that, they don't mention the grill part. But I would hope it would be the grill part. I hear, because I kind of gave them a hard time for abruptly closing after the fact. They close, our last day was this day. And I'm like, there's no notice, so people couldn't clamor to you or anything like that. So why was that? And, Algernon Cash spoke up and said, sometimes things are out of people's control. Okay, I mean, did they walk in that day and say, you're closed today?
Or did they try to open the doors and the locks were changed?
Yeah, there's that too.
Hate to say it, but that's a possibility.
Yeah, it could be. But when someone asked, will we be in the same spot? And they said, we're happy to announce it will not be there. So, good for them.
Yeah.
West.
Always hoping for success for small businesses here.
Yes. And, I never ate there, I'll be honest. It was just not on my mind. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people seem to really, really like it there. So, and I know they took a big hit too with the pandemic, because I would go by there and they would have the door open because it's right beside the munch box where I do like to eat. But they would have the door open, but it was to go only, and that's a lot of space for just to go food. And I just don't think that it picked back up for them in that location. I mean, it's in the Marketplace Mall.
Yeah, I ate at the prior incarnation of that place.
And Irie Rhythms, right?
Yeah, and that was actually really good food. It was excellent food. So I do hope they come back to a better location and with the food.
Yeah. So. I think the thing that happened there was the mom sold it to the daughter, and the daughter, high expectations and aspirations for it, moved it to do what they did, and again, it was the Marketplace Mall, which is a dying facility anyway. I like going to Munchbox. That's the Dollar Tree that I go to, or the $1.25 tree that I go to. And I know a lot of people go to the Antique Mall. And then there's the was it Hammerick's or whatever the female department store thing is there. I think that's all that's to be talked about in there.
I honestly haven't walked into that building in 2 years.
Yeah.
So, enough said.
Yeah. West Coast Wanderer food truck is back after 2 months being away. They were either going through some personal things or they were working on the truck. I can't remember which one it was because it was 2 months ago. So look for this truck to be at your favorite food truck locale, whether it's a pop-up like at Bailey Park or at your favorite brewery. That's where most of the food trucks make their rounds. So just look for them, because from what I can tell, and Leah Metz, who sometimes contributed to the show, has said that she absolutely loved the food there. So she would actually, if they found it, they would go to it. So
well, that's a strong recommendation there.
Yeah, so try out West Coast Wanderer food truck. Eat Drink Restaurant Week is coming soon, and I will be a sponsor. I'll have more information when the time comes, which will be around mid-March, because the event is scheduled for the last week of March, first week of April. I have talked to the Winston-Salem Journal. It sounds interesting. I can't really give any information right now, though, but it was supposed to have happened in right about now, late January, early February, but with all the weather and the Omicron and all that stuff, the restaurants and the Journal and the sponsors decided it would be better if they held off, because they talked to Dr. Ohl from Wake Forest, and he says he believes by the end of March, early April, this will be no longer a pandemic but an endemic, and it should be safer to move on that and have people gathering for big things.
So no details at all about like what the format's going to be?
There will be there's fine dining, fast casual, and food trucks.
Oh.
Yeah. And there will be a cost limit per dish in the categories. Mm-hmm. So I have some stuff written down, but I can't give you any more than that right now. But yeah, so it's going to be a little broader than the Burger Week was. Because they want to include more stuff, so it's not just burgers. Because burgers is not as much as we love burgers. It's not necessarily all inclusive, because not all restaurants have burgers. So
right, exactly. I mean, if you want to include your higher end ones like Bernardin's or Bernardin's,
yeah,
Meridian, and Ryan's and stuff like that. Although Ryan's might have a burger. But yeah, no. I love the idea, so I'm really looking forward to it. So this is going to be a great chance to try or go back to places you haven't been to and try new dishes. So
yeah, because a lot of people they found there's been a couple of restaurant week type things happening in the area over the last 10 years or so. Various people putting them on, and people are more likely. That's what research shows. More likely to check out new places if there's like a deal going on, a special, and so they might lose a little bit of money on doing that, but they will also probably have beverages for sale. They'll have people who don't want what the special is and order off the menu, and if they like what they have, then they'll come back. So it could be a loss leader for them. They find out they have these things that they like, and let's go back to that restaurant because I really liked it. You had that, but I really like this other thing that I had.
Exactly. So yep, looking forward to it. I can't wait. So good stuff.
And check out the Go to Winston-Salem, what was Explore Winston-Salem. It's an internet Instagram-based business to tell you all the cool and groovy things happening in our hometown. They're on Instagram as the Go to Winston-Salem, and on Facebook as the Go to Winston-Salem. And on the website, it is thegotowinstonsalem.com. It's really simplified over all of it because there were a couple different addresses, and now here we have it. And Christy Bellis, and she's all over it. And I think she has a small team working with her, but they have just about everything that's going on in Winston and the immediate surrounding areas. They have it covered.
And that's Winston-Salem spelled out? No WS there?
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's thegotowinstonsalem.com and thegotowinstonsalem. And
I am sure that will be on your blog.
Yes, it will. It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
All right. Now it's time to talk about the country spinner. I haven't really talked about that in a while. Football season is almost over, so we will be getting back to that. And we are putting Yemen back on the spinner and picking a new country. The reason why, we hope we will get back to Yemen, but the reason why is Yemen, everything I looked up for Yemeni food is mostly borrowed or shared with all the other countries in their region, as it happens a lot. But I wanted something for the comeback of this. I wanted something that was unique. I hope because we've not respun yet, but when we do, I hope that we draw another Asian country. I would like it to be a little more Eastern, or at least north of the Gulf. Because as you get higher, people have to come up with more unique things. Down there in that area, it's a lot of people and a lot of abundance of borrowed food. If it's not, it's not. But I hope that it's another Asian country. So, all that being said, we haven't drawn yet. We were probably going to do that this week. We have another plan for this weekend. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But let's talk about burgers. Now, we were supposed to have a guest today, so I have narrowed my list to the top 15. But I'm in the middle of writing up the article, and I thought we were going to have guests today, and I didn't want to have guests and do that at the same time.
Makes sense.
Well, the guests moved to next week, and you won't be here next week anyway. So, I'm in the middle of writing all this up, and I will announce it here before I publish the article, but it won't be long after that. I was going to announce it next week, but we have guests coming on, and again, you are not going to be here. And I want you here when I announce the rankings because you've been my partner in crime through all this. So, let's say, so the point is, I have worked on it and I have it ready. Now I'm just working on what I'm going to say about it.
All right. It's been, 8 months that we've done this.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah. And it's top 15.
Excellent. Are you going to break it down into categories, though, like pub versus diner? Or is it just overall, or have you thought about that?
There's going to be, the top 15 is going to be overall.
Okay.
But I am going to, what I've written so far has laid out what we decided to do. Specialty burgers will not be in the top 15. The top 15 are only the mayonnaise, pickles, tomato, onion, sometimes shredded lettuce, sometimes burger sauce if that's what comes on it. But it had to be comparable to everything else on the list. It couldn't just be, something from Food Freaks going against, the diner.
Right, exactly.
So that, because that wouldn't be fair. Like I said last year, I allowed that. And I always have felt, not last year before last, I've always felt that they all should stand on their own merit. So where does it stand on its own? But this time I decided I wanted a little more standardization. And I think we had talked about that. And so the top 15 will all be that, but there will be mentions of other things happening.
Now, without going into any details, are there going to be any surprises on the list that weren't there 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Well, 2 years ago of those, 3 are no longer in business. 2 have changed their concepts. One of the ones that were on that list is going to be mentioned and would have been on the list, but there's circumstances that keeps that off. Another one, there's actually 2 of those.
Okay.
So
there will be changes.
Oh, yeah, there will be changes.
Right.
There will be some not changes. There will be some things that show up again. Maybe not in the same order as they originally were. But I'll explain all that in 2 weeks if you can come back.
All right. Well, it's on my calendar, so let's plan for it.
All right, let's do that.
Yep. Time to close that book.
That's right. And it'll probably be a while before we do that again.
Oh, yeah. I still have to move away from the first one.
Yeah, and if we do burgers again, it'll be a much shorter time period like it was probably the first time. But I would like to do something different next tour.
Philly cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak is a possibility.
That would be my vote.
Yeah.
As you all know.
Yeah, my wife would love for it to be a salad tour. No. Will not be a salad tour. Because, that's the food that my food eats. So that's what I want there. So just know that I have formulated the list. I just have to, and I'm not going to tell you off the air either. I want you to find out when we talk about it.
Yep.
I will have some things to tell you off the air about how I come up with that, but not what they are.
Right. No, that's perfect. Good.
So, the food holidays are sponsored by Diamondback Grill. It is casual dining located in the heart of Buena Vista in Winston-Salem. It is a fantastic family-owned farm-to-fork restaurant that sources most of its ingredients from local farmers, and the ambiance is always amazing. I have sent several colleagues and friends to Diamondback for their company dinners, their meetings, family outings, or just, hey, we want someplace nice that's not too fancy, but the food's fancy. And that's Diamondback Grill, I think, in a nutshell. They are a fine casual type restaurant, but the food is upper echelon, I think. It's really good. I'm not saying that because they're my sponsor. I'm saying that because I love the food.
Well, if you just take a look at their posts and stuff like that, they're always posting amazing looking dishes and creative stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's every week it's a really cool creative dish that, wow, you know, they're really doing a good job.
Yeah, I totally agree. They're at 751 Avalon Road, right in the heart of Buena Vista, not Buena Vista, because I pronounce it correctly. Find them on the web at diamondbackgrill.com and on Facebook and Instagram as Diamondback Grill. To make reservations, call 336-722-0006, and of course, tell them that I sent you. Today is the 24th of January. It's National Peanut Butter Day, which anybody who knows me knows that my absolute favorite food stuff is peanut butter. And
strangely, I did not know that.
Oh, well.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have at least 1 to 2 spoons a day. We go through a jar in about 8 to 9 days.
Now, well, okay, we got to ask, what's your favorite peanut butter?
My favorite peanut butter is Peter Pan.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mother and my father cannot understand that because, you know, choosy mothers choose Jif, and that's what she had always fed me. But I said, although, Mom, I have been called a mother, I am not a mother, and I like Peter Pan. And my son and my nephews agree with me that Peter Pan is better. Peter Pan always rates lowest on all these, like mashed and all those things, because it's too much sugar added. I actually taste more peanuts in Peter Pan than I do in Jif. Jif to me seems flat.
I actually just bought a jar of Jif for a totally different reason. I actually make my own peanut butter from scratch.
Yeah.
Obviously. And so I actually made, and I will bring you some, basically it's a Reese's peanut butter brownie thing. So it's a chocolate brownie with peanut butter and then chocolate frosting on top, fudgy frosting on top.
Nice.
So I didn't want to use my peanut butter for that, so I went and bought some Jif.
Right.
And I tasted a little bit. You're absolutely right. I mean, Jif to me has hardly any peanut taste at all.
Right.
So I'm with you 100%. I have not tried Peter Pan for that, but
Yeah, try Peter Pan. I just think it tastes like peanuts. But I also am not a huge fan of like the peanut butter you have to stir every time that you.
Yep.
I want real peanut butter.
Yes.
It's also Beer Can Appreciation Day today, and I'm happy about that too. I appreciate beer cans, especially when they have beer in them. In 1922, on the 24th, Eskimo Pie Patent Day was happening when Christian K. Nelson, an ice cream salesman in Iowa, was issued a patent for the Eskimo pie. He described it as, in its simplest form, a block or brick of frozen confection within an edible container or shell. The core or center may be ice cream, sherbet, sorbet, ice, or other material congealed by refrigeration. The shell, like that used in coating chocolate candies, although preferably modified to harden at lower temperatures.
That's a pretty broad patent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he was thorough.
Yes,
that.
he was.
Yeah.
And I am an Eskimo Pie fan. So
Yeah.
Yep. Although they changed the name, didn't they? Or not?
I think so. I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, what was the other one? Klondike was
Yes.
the other one.
Yeah.
But, my favorite thing is to say, I'm kind of embarrassed what I did for a Klondike bar. In 1935, the beer can was created by the American Can Company. It was introduced in Richmond, Virginia by the Gottfried Kruger Brewing Company of Newark, New Jersey. The products were Kruger's Finest Beer and Kruger's Cream Ale. So that's why it's also a Beer Can Appreciation Day.
By the way, it's called now Edie's Pie.
Edie's?
E-D-Y. Yes, Edie's Pie.
Okay.
So,
wonder why. Because
Eskimo is, I guess, a derogatory.
Well, no, I get that, but wonder why
Edie's? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because Christian K. Nelson is not Edie at all. Maybe it's his wife or his girlfriend.
Actually, no, it was one of the founders. Joseph Edie is one of the founders of Eskimo Pie.
So it was just Christian Nelson who got the patent.
Yes.
Excellent. That makes more sense.
Yes, it does.
In 1950, Percy L. Spencer received a patent for the microwave oven for the method of treating foodstuffs. And they probably cost about $3,000.
Oh, I think it was a lot more than that. It was also the size of a warehouse almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was giant.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I seem to remember somebody said it was more like back, and this was back then, right? $10,000 back in those days.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, $50,000 in today's money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And now you can buy them at Walmart for $65.
Yeah.
In 1956, on the 24th, the reason it's National Peanut Butter Day, that's when Procter & Gamble introduced Jif peanut butter.
There we go.
Yeah. In 1984, the first Apple Macintosh computers were sold. So that must mean that this was a Monday then, too, because the commercial for it was on Super Bowl in 1984, before it had ever came out, and nobody knew what it was. It didn't even mention until the very end what they were even talking about. So that was in ad sense, that was a very pivotal moment in advertising. And it's still talked about today.
I remember that commercial vividly back from the days.
Yeah,
so, yep.
yeah. And it was 1984.
Exactly.
In 1985, Coca-Cola announced it had received permission to sell Coke in the Soviet Union, which, if you think, 1985 is when they changed the formula. So they got real Coke for just a little bit, and then they said on that, and then the world said on that, and they went back. So they got to come in right in the middle of that cluster mess. In 1996, the U.S. FDA approved the fat substitute Alestra, or Olean as it was the brand name of. Alestra is unapproved for sale in many countries, including the European Union and Canada. Side effects include abdominal cramps and inhibition of vitamin absorption. So, do they still use that today? Do you know? No.
I've never seen anything said that they're using that anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Only thing I ever remember was when baked Lay's first came. There was a big deal about people getting sick off of that. And I tried it a couple times and I never got sick. But I didn't like it either. Just make my potato chips the way they've always been made and stop trying to jazz it up some. I still want Coke and Pepsi to go back to, I know you can in Mexico, but go back to real cane sugar and not corn syrup. But you have to pay extra for that.
So are you a kettle potato chip guy, or are you an old style potato chip guy? Like a standard Lay's or a kettle?
I am a Ruffles guy.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a Ruffles guy.
They have fridges.
Yeah, they have ridges. And it's either the sour cream and cheddar or the barbecue, mesquite or otherwise.
All right. I am definitely on the fan of the jalapeno kettle chip. That's my go-to chip, but good stuff.
Yeah, it's potato chips.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than, I don't like the texture or the taste of the baked stuff, even now that Alestra is not the main thing. It's just, what is this?
Why bother?
Yeah, this is not right. On the 25th, it's National Irish Coffee Day. That's tomorrow, which is, Irish coffee is espresso with Irish whiskey, sometimes Bailey's Irish cream or something of that ilk. and whipped cream with sugar added, and you drink it through the whipped cream, obviously. On the 25th, in 1759, Robert Burns was born. He's a Scottish poet, widely regarded as the national poet of Scotland. His poem, Auld Lang Syne, set to the tune of a traditional folk song, is traditionally sung at midnight to celebrate the start of the new year. Now, in my house, not tomorrow, but this weekend coming, as I mentioned, we will be having a Beeman Burns night-like meal, which consists of cockaliki soup that I'm making, haggis with neeps and tatties, which is in the United States. Neeps and tatties is rutabaga and potatoes. Anywhere else, it's turnips, which rutabaga is basically a turnip. Smoked salmon on oat cakes and scotch, of course.
Where are you going to get your haggis?
We got our haggis from the Scottish Gourmet in Greensboro.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't been there yet, so pretty good.
Haven't
Not the haggis, but
I love the store.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very small. They're not open on the weekends, only during the week. I happened to catch them the first time on a Saturday, and they had just announced they weren't going to be open on Saturdays, but they were open. But we in the freezer, and they gave us proper cooking instructions for it. We have haggis. We also have a black pudding and a white pudding.
Wow.
And we will have mince pies as well. So we have our burn stuff, and since it's Tuesday and my wife fasts on Tuesdays and I work late on Tuesdays, we decided we're just going to do it Saturday night.
I'm sure Bobby Burns will forgive you in his grave.
Yes. Thank you, Robbie, for forgiving us. Let's see, where am I at? In 1799, Eliakim Spooner of Vermont is patented a gravity seed feed planting machine. It was not until 1840 that a truly practical seed planting machine was developed, but he had the patent for that. In 1938, New England Products Incorporated registered the V8 trademark for its combination of 8 vegetable juices. Do you know what those 8 juices are?
Nope. I only know that it's going to have tomato in it. That's the big one.
So the juices are tomato juice, spinach, celery, carrot, beet, lettuce, watercress, and parsley.
Well, the last 3 are certainly interesting.
Yeah.
You don't come to think about lettuce and parsley and watercress as
Juice. Yeah. In 1945, Grand Rapids, Michigan became the first city to fluoridate its drinking water to reduce tooth decay. Is it Flint that has all the water problems?
Yes, I was going to say
So
Flint.
Michigan, we didn't get no fluoride. We just got crap.
That's right. We got lead.
Different element, different mineral. In 1959, American Airlines opened the jet age in the United States with the first scheduled transcontinental flight of a Boeing 707.
Where did it go to from New York to L.A. or something? Or San Francisco?
Probably.
Something.
Yeah. In 1974, Ray Kroc, who was the founder of the McDonald's fast food restaurant chain, bought the San Diego Padres for $12 million. No way that would sell for $12 million these days. You can't even buy season tickets for that. No, you can, but the baseball teams now, I've not seen a baseball team being sold lately, but if it's anything like football, I know the Panthers, I believe, were the last team to sell, and they sold for $2.5 billion. Billion.
Oh, okay. I was thinking 300 million, 400 billion. Oh my
No, $2.5 billion. When Tepper bought it from the Richardson family. In 1993, Sears announced the closing of its catalog sales department after 97 years. And here we are in 2022, and we only have like 10 Sears across the country left. So, and those are fading fast.
Yes, they are.
On the 26th, it's National Peanut Brittle Day. And it's International Sous Vide Day because it's the birthday of Dr. Bruno Gasalt, the father of modern sous vide, the process of vacuum sealing food and cooking it in temperature-controlled water.
My favorite technique, by the way.
Is it?
Oh my God, I use sous vide all the time. And I kid you not, I will make you a steak, sous vide steak. That will be the best steak you've had. It's an amazing technique if done right, and I love it, and I use it all the time. So, and you know what sous vide stands for? Of course, it's French.
Yeah. Something life.
Nope. Under vacuum. Sous
Under
vide.
vacuum. Okay.
Yep. Which makes sense because you vacuum seal the bags and
Right.
Yep.
And sous, because sous chef is the under chef.
Yes, under chef. So under vacuum.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
It's also National Green Juice Day, which they could have gone back and used for V8
Yes,
Day.
they could have.
In 1915, on the 26th, Corn Products Refining Company registered the Argo trademark for cornstarch. In 1965, Noah W. and Joseph S. McVicker received a patent for a plastic modeling composition of a soft, pliable working consistency known today as Play-Doh. And Play-Doh was originally designed as
Wallpaper
cleaner. Yep.
Yep.
In 1927, it's National Chocolate Cake Day. There's one for you, Ray. In 1521, on the 27th, the Diet of Worms begins. It's not a fad diet, but the assembly of the Holy Roman Empire, at which Martin Luther made his famous, maybe infamous appearance. In 1980, on the 27th, Thomas Edison was granted a patent for electric lamps giving light by incandescent. That's what we still use mostly today. In 1988, the National Geographic Society was incorporated. In 1933, in Saskatchewan, Canada, record-setting hen Lady Victorine died after laying her 694th egg. Now, my question for that is, how do they know it was 694? Did they set out to just measure her egg count? Because when it was one or two, okay, that's one. Or did they get through and say, well, we're going to estimate this was probably about 15 or 20. But why then? Because chickens lay eggs all the time. So why was this one recorded, and how do they know it was 694 eggs?
And has no one recorded any other hens since that might have done more eggs? I mean, is this like the best egg ever layer?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a lot of eggs, though.
It is. Yeah. Wow. In 1970, James M. Schlatter of G.D. Searle and Company received a patent for the peptide sweetening agent aspartame, which would be marketed in 1981 as NutraSweet. In 1984, Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire while filming the Pepsi commercial. In 2005, Procter & Gamble announced that it agreed to buy Gillette for $57 billion, combining some of the world's best-known household brands. In 2006, and Procter & Gamble, they're still separate. I was about to say, doesn't Unilever own everything now?
No.
But it's not Procter & Gamble. They haven't sold.
Okay.
In 2006, the last Western Union telegrams are sent as Western Union ended its telegram service. I would have thought it would have been earlier than that.
Yeah. What year? 1986?
2006.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's really surprising.
86 would have been more along the right line, because people now, even in 86, could pick up the phone. Party lines were mostly gone by then. So, in 2017, France bans restaurants from offering free refills of sodas and other sugary drinks. The new law aims at limiting the risks of obesity and diabetes, or if you're Wilford Brimley, diabetes. On the 28th, it's National Blueberry Pancake Day, and I meant to have a sound clip of the the wife of Bruce Willis from Pulp Fiction, when she was talking about, the French girl was talking about all she wanted was blueberry pancakes.
Yep.
In 1868, Amariah M. Hills of Connecticut received a patent for improvement in lawnmowers, which was new and improved cutting device for mowing grass by hand. This was the first real, REEL, lawnmower patent in the United States.
All right, I actually used one of those old style push
Real.
lawnmowers back when I was much younger.
Yeah. Is that your way of making money?
That was a way of keeping my room and board at my house.
Okay, yeah. I get that too.
Yep, chores. As it goes.
Yeah, chores. What is that? In 1873, on the 28th, Louis Pasteur received a patent for improvement in brewing beer and ale. New and useful improvements in the process of making beer. Thank you, Louis. Mm-hmm. In 1878, the first commercial telephone exchange in the United States was installed in New Haven, Connecticut. In 1887, the largest snowflake ever recorded, 15 inches wide, fell at Fort Keogh, Montana. 15 inches wide.
Yeah, that's one snowflake?
One snowflake.
That is crazy.
Yeah. In 1915, Congress created the U.S. Coast Guard on the 28th. In 1932, Wisconsin enacts the first U.S. unemployment insurance system. In 1947, Colgate-Palmolive registered the Ajax trademark for soap and household cleaner. I would have thought that would have been older.
Yep.
On the 29th, it's National Corn Chip Day. The first patent for a glass milk container was issued to George Lester in 1878 on the 29th. In 1892, on the 29th, the Coca-Cola Company is incorporated in Atlanta, Georgia. In 1924, Carl R. Taylor of Cleveland received the first patent for an ice cream cone rolling machine. In 1978, Sweden became the first country to ban aerosol cans to stop the destruction of the ozone layer. In 2004, a 60-ton, this is gross as hell, a 60-ton, 56-foot long sperm whale exploded on a busy street in Taiwan. A buildup of gas from internal decay caused the explosion. Researchers were taking the whale by truck to the National Cheng Kung University for a necropsy.
Well, they could take the pieces parts now.
Yeah. The whale had beached itself and died on January 17th. So this was 12 days later. No one was injured in the explosion, but blood and entrails showered cars and shops, and traffic was held up for several hours while the mess was cleaned up.
Can you imagine the smell?
I cannot. Oh. No, I cannot. 60-ton, 56-foot long whale exploded. Ugh.
Yeah. That would put me off my sushi for a little while.
Yeah. Oh, God. On the 30th, it's National Croissant Day. On the 30th, a day that I am thankful for, too, in 1560, Duke Wilhelm IV of Bavaria instituted the Reinheitsgebot, the German beer purity law, and probably the first consumer protection law. Any beer that you get from Germany has to follow the Reinheitsgebot law, saying that beer can only be malt, barley, hops, and water. That's all. So you won't get a lot of flavored water, flavored beer out of Germany.
Now, the only thing you can get, which is strange, and I don't know if you ever tried it, is a Rauch beer, which is smoked beer. And they smoke the malt,
is that
the grains first.
The yellow bottle with the parchment paper.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah. So that's all they could do is do that. That's all they got.
Yeah, I like it, but I can't drink a whole lot of it.
No, I agree with you.
In 1906, the New England Confectionery Company registered the Necco Sweets trademark for candy. I like those. I don't know if they still make those.
I think they do, but I don't know where you can get them here. I have not seen Necco. Oh, masked.
Probably masked.
Okay, that would make sense.
They have everything.
Yes.
In 1912, The California Fruit Growers Exchange registered the Sunkist trademark for lemons. That exact same day, the Hawaiian Pineapple Company registered the J.D. Dole trademark for canned pineapple. In 1933, sponsored by General Mills, the first episode of The Lone Ranger was broadcast on radio station WXYZ in Detroit, Michigan. In 1969, on the 30th, the Beatles performed their last time in public on the roof of Apple Studios.
If you haven't seen the
Get Back?
Yeah, Get Back. It's long. It's 10 hours, but it's really good.
I have not seen it, and I'm a huge Beatles fan. I think I'm just waiting until I actually have 3-hour blocks.
Yes.
And I don't usually have, because by the time I get to actually watch anything is usually about 10 o'clock at night. And I know chances are I will fall asleep, and I don't want to miss any of it.
All right. It's good, though. I do recommend it.
And that's your food holiday in history for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, talk about our favorite brands of peanut butter, and gross us out with the explosion of the huge ass mastodon that was the sperm whale that exploded in Taiwan. Again, that's very gross. The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables Podcast Network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Beeswax Final Daily, Wheeler's Dog, Asylum, Tales from the Devereaux Diaries, Useless Things Need Love 2 podcast, and coming in February, the Health Geeks Book Club podcast. Kristen and Eleanor will be on the Less Desirables podcast this Wednesday night, to talk about the Health Geeks Book Club podcast. And, I think it's a fantastic podcast, not because I produce it, but because, I like to know what's in those health books, but I hate reading. So I don't want to do it. They do it for you, and they tell you about it, and they're very in-depth, and it's basically a book report, but it's from two interesting people. So that helps.
And when does that start airing?
It's on now. I mean, you can get it now anywhere you find podcasts, but it will be on the network starting in February.
All right.
The first episode that they air in February will be on the network. So yeah, you can find them already, but network in February. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episode on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You'll find all you need to know about those right there. This is a reminder to all the listeners, and it's good practice, not just now, but for always. Wash your damn hands. Wash for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. And if you don't know how long 20 seconds are, just sing along to this.
And all I can do is keep on telling you I want you. I need you. There ain't no way I'm ever gonna love you. Now don't be sad. Don't be sad, 'cause 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
In honor of us losing the majestic voice that was Meatloaf, just a couple years after we lost Jim Steinman, who wrote that song and everything that he did on this album. That's 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad from 1978. Bat Out of Hell album from Meatloaf. He had one monstrous voice.
Yep. That was a 18 million copy seller, that album. Yeah, top all time. Great thing.
Yep. Worldwide, it sold 25 million. Yeah. So go listen to the whole album. The whole album's kitschy and funny. It's all tongue in cheek because that's how Jim Steinman wrote. But he also wrote Total Eclipse of the Heart. It was just not just Meatloaf stuff. He wrote a lot of stuff. So keep an eye on this blog and this podcast to find out more about, not your eye on the podcast, I guess your ear on the podcast, to find out more about food, news, and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send an email to tim@themanwhoatetown.com. You can also contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter Instant Messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man Who 8 The Town. On Instagram, we are Man Who Ate the Town. We invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast. Actually, any podcast on the TLD network, you can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422 NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we will play it on the podcast again, 336-422 NUM 6862. Stephen, it's awesome to have you here. Hate that I'll miss you next week, but we'll talk burgers the week after if you're able to come.
I plan on it, and I can't wait to close that chapter, including like maybe closing the recipe box.
We'll do that. So my name is Tim.
And I'm Street Team Steve.
And we are closing the recipe box, or trunk. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.